Hello, and welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am so excited, y'all. This is day two. Um, it's a lot to go from not having done one in a while, meaning going live, to now this is the second one. If you happen to miss yesterday, then you absolutely have to go back and take listen after today's live so that you can understand some of the things that we talked about. Um, I got a juicy one for you tonight. We are going to talk about birth and why it feels so chaotic, and actually what we can do to really minimize that. I have a specific plan for you to help you get birth ready in 7 days. So, if birth has been on your mind, if you are pregnant and you find yourself just really nervous or overwhelmed, then we're going to start that conversation tonight. I'm going to give you a actual plan for 7 days, and then we will also talk about the sneak peek for my Black Friday, which will be dropping tomorrow. Now, let me just start by saying you definitely want to be a part, because this one was specifically made with you in mind. Now, if this is your very first time joining one of my lives, my name is Stephanie Poole. I am a certified doula and lactation consultant. I specialize in helping first-time moms make that transition into birth or into motherhood by having a smooth and confident birth. That is what I do. And so if you are pregnant, if you have been wondering, where do I start? I want to get prepared, but I don't really know exactly what to do or how to get started, then you are in the right room tonight. Now, with that being said, I want to hear from you. You guys know I always hop into my comments. That is really me, like responding to your comments under all of my different videos. So that is the type of energy I need you to bring, which means I need you to talk back to me. I need you to let me know, where are you joining from tonight? How many weeks are you? I like to get to know who it is that I'm talking to just make sure that I am giving you the information that's going to be valuable for you. So, now that we've gotten all the house cleaning stuff out of the way, you guys know I like to be respectful of your time. So we're going to jump right in and really talk about birth and why it feels so chaotic, what we can actually do about that in terms of really simplifying and streamlining and really having a plan. Now, if you guys know anything about me, you know I like to really give you things that you can use. So you will likely want to have your phone out with the notes app so that you can take notes and hopefully refer back to this, or like I mentioned before, yesterday's video, to really give you some golden nuggets as you are prepping for birth. Let's see where people are joining from. Oh my goodness. South Africa, 36 weeks. Congratulations. Wow. From Mexico. Hello. Originally from South Africa. Okay. Wow. And joining from Michigan. What up, though? I'm in Detroit. Nice. To have someone that is close by. So, hey, what's up? Y'all, I'm so excited. I am so excited because I feel like there's just so much that I want to make sure that you get. And so without further ado, I am going to jump in. Now, listen, if you have questions, right? Don't be afraid. Drop them in the comments, and then I will be checking that so that I can make sure to answer whatever questions you have as well. I want you to walk away with at least one takeaway tonight. That's always my goal whenever I go live, right? Whenever I get to connect with you, I really want you to be able to take something away. So whatever questions you have, drop them in the comments. All right, so let's talk about where we are, right? Because we're going somewhere. I want to kind of paint this pathway from where you are now to what it takes to position you for a confident and smooth birth. Now, my specialty is first-time moms. That's primarily who anything that I do, a lot of the information is for my first-time moms. And one thing about first-time moms is they are never short on the information. You have, I talked about this yesterday. You have your mom that's giving you information, a cousin, that's telling you about their experience. You got TikTok, you got Google, you got me, right? So you are not short on information. But it is so important that you understand the context of that information. And then what is even more important than really understanding the context is really putting it into a system, really streamlining all of that noise that's out there on the internet, right? Because let's just admit it. Put yes in the comments if you have saved a ton of Instagram reels or TikToks or YouTube shorts with various pregnancy and birth information, right? That's what we do. We see something, we kind of save it. But in terms of really being able to utilize that information, it's hard. Why? Because it's just random bits of information. Well, tonight we're really going to talk about how you can take that random information, cut all of the fluff, right? And have a system. The importance of a system to get you to where you want to go. A system helps you to organize that information. So it's not just random, it's not chaotic. It's more of a streamlined, more confident way of getting to where it is you want to go. Now, let me also say this, because I feel like this really needs to be said whenever I'm talking to my moms. And this may prick a little bit, but it's the truth. Some moms actually put more preparation into their baby shower than they do their actual birth. Let me say that again. Some moms put more preparation and emphasis and detail into preparing for their baby shower over preparing for their actual birth. Yes, it happens. And I think part of that is because for a baby shower, you've likely planned a party before, so you kind of know what to expect. But if you're a first-time mom, I said this yesterday, you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't really know how to plan for birth because you've never done it before. And so you have this gap. But I'm here to kind of slow down the process and really emphasize the importance of preparing for your birth properly. Now, let me also reiterate, something that I mentioned yesterday about us here in the United States. Right now, they have given our maternal and infant health system, they rated it as a D+. And y'all, we got to do better. Part of that is the system, and part of it is just not being properly prepared. Not that it's a fault, right? Not that it's your fault. It's just simply not knowing, not knowing what you need to be prepared for. So hopefully that is the goal of really moving forward with a system and getting you prepped and getting you ready, because it makes a difference in our outcomes. It makes a difference in your recovery. It makes a difference in how confidently you birth. When you are confident, your body becomes, it gets a signal to get out of fight or flight mode, right? When you are feeling that pain or the intense surge of your contractions, it is very easy to feel that and immediately, tense up and panic, right? But when you know what's going on, what's happening, then you don't tense up, and instead you have more of a sense of safety. And when you feel safe, because you know this is not taking you by surprise, you are not panicking. When you don't panic, you can focus. When you can focus, you can get in your zone and you can birth confidently. Okay? So let's kind of get into, I have my notes here because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I also just want to say, to round that part out about the importance of preparation. You would never, most people, unless you live in Vegas, right? Here in the States, unless you live there, most people don't get engaged at 9 a.m. and then have a wedding at 4 p.m. They don't do it. Why? Because you need to prepare. Most people, even if you're going to do something simple at the courthouse, or at a chapel, or, if you're going to do a small marriage ceremony, it still takes preparation. Y'all, we have to take that same level of importance that we would do for any other big event in our life, and we have to apply that to birth. Birth is one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing that you're going to do. Why? Because it is going to affect both you and your baby. That's number one. And number two, you are creating a core memory that you will never forget. A core memory, how you remember birth is going to be important, because it's going to be what you continue to share literally for the rest of your life once you give birth. And proof of this is, I joked earlier about having a cousin to tell you about how they were in labor 20 hours. You know why they're telling you? Because it is their birth story. They created a core memory, and even if it's not a pleasant one, it's one that they won't forget. And so it's something that they will continue to repeat over and over and over. You don't want that core memory to be something that is not pleasant or not memorable, or it has this negative connotation. You want your birth story, whatever it is, whatever your birth journey is, you want it to be a positive experience. You want it to be great memories. You want it to be something that you associate with being confident and ready for, right? So that's what we're going to jump in and try and get you prepared to do that today. Now, if you clicked on this, or if you're watching, then you likely saw that this will be the exact system that I use with my clients. And the reason why I felt like this is important, because it will give you a sneak peek into my program, which will be dropping tomorrow for Black Friday. And the reason why I feel like it's important is because sometimes, especially if you are already in your third trimester, you may feel like, well, how can I get through the curriculum or the information? 7 days. 7 days. And I am going to give you the blueprint, the framework that you can use to prepare every single day until you're ready. And exactly 7 days after getting it, after starting this framework, you will feel more confident and more prepared for birth, especially as a first-time mom. And the thing about being prepared and using a system like this is that it's one and done. So you get it, but you'll use this for any subsequent pregnancies that you have as well. And that's important because I initially created it for pregnant first time moms, right? But what I have found is that I engage with people who have had multiple births, or find value even with multiple babies. I've had like people to engage and talk to me about having twins. And so this information is going to be good whether it's your first time or your second or even your third, because I think especially when you're going through, having that refresher is so important. So hold tight because this is going to break it all down for you. So let's start with day one. Now, like I mentioned before, you definitely want to open up your notes app and just kind of take some notes so you can understand everything. And yeah, let's hop in. So day one, and this ties into yesterday when I talked about the importance of understanding what's actually happening. Now, excuse me. Now, this is where, let me take a, this is where we start you right off on day one. This is where you start to understand what contractions are, what they feel like, what's normal, what's not, the different stages of the contractions, where they start versus where you end up for delivery. All of that is day one, understanding what's happening. That's day one. Day two, I want you to focus on learning what to do with those contractions. So day one, you're going to learn the fundamental foundation information about the contractions. And then on day two, we're going to kind of dive into, okay, so now you know what they are, but what do you do when they actually start happening, right? What do you do? What are things that you could actually apply to help you with that pain management and to help you as those contractions continually increase in surge? Because what we know is that there are different stages of labor, and with every stage, and as the labor and contractions start to progress, things become more intense until you're actually in that pushing phase and baby is born. And so you need to know not just what they are, but what to do when you start to have them. Right? What are some things that you can do to really help you with that pain management? We're going to jump into that in day two of your prep. That's really important. Day three is where I recommend for you to, watch the curriculum on how to prepare your body for labor. This is hugely important, very important. And this is important because you don't necessarily get a lot of, and this is really with the whole course. The aim of me creating the course was from a doula standpoint, right? My perspective of birth is totally different from a doctor's perspective. And I mentioned this before, you've probably heard it in other videos, but it's important to hammer home because a lot of first-time moms don't understand that your nurse and your doctor are there for your medical safety. They are not necessarily there to help you with the nuances of giving birth, right? They're concerned with the baby's heart rate and any decelerations that they see on the machine, right? In other words, is the baby's heart rate dropping with your contractions? Is the baby tolerating them well? They're there to monitor all of that, okay? They're there to help you if pain meds is a part of your birth plan or part of your preferences. So they're there to administer those things. They're there if you have extenuating circumstances. Maybe you have an underlying issue, right? That you may have had previous to even getting pregnant, something like diabetes or high blood pressure, or just a lot of different ailments that you could be dealing with along with growing your baby and giving birth. So they're there to monitor your safety and the safety of the baby. But this and the reason why that's important is because taking a childbirth course from their perspective is going to teach you differently than what I am teaching, because it's going to be medically based. Now, while my perspective is a bit different, it is evidence based, meaning that it is meant to be complementary, not go against your provider's advice, but to simply help you with what we know to be evidence-based information about childbirth and how to care for a mom during that time. And so that's why this is really important, because when we talk about day 3 and preparing your body for birth, all of that is from that perspective, right? Things that you can actually do, that you can actually put into practice. After going through that, day 4, the curriculum that I really want you to dive into on day 4 is building your birth plan. And inside of Bump to Bundle Blueprint, I really talk about the importance of building a birth plan that's respected. That is respected. And what I mean by that is we go over in detail what is important to communicate as your preferences. And then what is maybe some like to haves, right? But we want to make sure that you are covered in terms of what your true preferences are when it comes to medically communicating with your birth team. That is what we talk about when we talk about building your birth plan. Now, day 5, we transition, and this one is key. This is specifically from the perspective of a doula. And this is no matter who or what. These next 2, I'm very, very proud that I've included in the curriculum because they are absolutely needed, especially in so many cases where births tend to go left when we talk about day 5, which is learning how to advocate for yourself without feeling like you're being rude. That is so important. I think people shy away maybe from saying what they really want to say, or knowing how to really slow the room down a bit, giving them time to think about their birth choices before they have to make certain birth decisions, or really giving them time to think and understand what each option is when they're presented with different birth options based on, how their labor is progressing. You need to understand how to really communicate and advocate for yourself, from you to your providers, your nurses, the staff, right, that is there to really help to be clear without being rude, to be concise without being rude. How do you really communicate that? We go over it inside the course. That is day 5. And that alone is worth the price of admission, as they say. Now, day 6 is also one that I'm super, super excited about. And that is partner prep. Partner prep. Now, let me just say this. You absolutely cannot wait until you are in labor to then decide on how you're going to communicate with your partner about birth. And sad to say, oftentimes that is when the partners actually start communicating specifically about birth. Like, they're communicating all throughout, right? But usually it comes down to in labor, contractions are happening and the pregnant person is trying to give instructions to the support person about how to support them. We don't want to do that. Not this year. We're doing something totally different. We are going to prepare you beforehand, before you get into the thick of it, before you start, with those intense surges. We're going to have you have a complete understanding of how you can communicate with your partner. And so this particular module inside of the course, I actually recommend that you sit down and watch it together, or maybe they watch it and then you watch it and you come together and talk about it. But I absolutely made this with them in mind so that when you go in, you are a team. This is not anything new. You understand how your partner understands what's important to you and how you want to be supported during birth, because everyone is different. Everyone's language of communication is different. Everyone labors differently, right? And to be able to understand that before you get in the thick of it is going to be powerful. Trust me, it's a no-go if you wait until you're in the thick of it to try and communicate that. So that is day number 6. And then day number 7 is where we put it all together. You have your blueprint, and you are feeling confident, basically. You have your movements, your breathing techniques, you understand labor and contractions, and you are, you have the scripts that we give you inside on how to advocate for yourself. You know the different positions that actually work well with breathing techniques. So it's not just separately. You're learning how to use them together to continue to get your labor to progress. You don't want things to stall. You in order to have a smooth, confident birth, you want to try and not just start labor, right? Starting labor at the beginning is one thing, but continuing to get it to progress is a whole nother accomplishment if you can get it done. And so there's going to be some things inside to help you do that. And we're going to bring it all together on day 7. Trust me, by the time you are done, you will absolutely feel more confident and more ready, more streamlined, more clear. You're going to have clarity, no guesswork, no panicking, because now you know all of the important things. No fluff, right? No fluff. Everything else that you learn will be extra because you have now focused in on what's absolutely important. Now, let me say this too, because this is important to really mention. A lot of first-time moms thinks that being prepared means that you have to know everything. You don't have to know everything. You just need to know the right things, right? And that's why I really focus to pare this down. What do you need to know, and what is going to get you from where you are now, right, which is pregnant and not in labor, to labor, to birth, to recovering well. What's going to get you there? That in that step, in that order. And this is the exact system that I use with my clients. And it's so important. I said it yesterday, that the reason why it's important is that the things that I have focused on including is only what you need to know, right? So if you take the next 7 days to go through and do just those things, right, it will be enough for you to feel confident and clear on what it is when that time comes. Doing so will put you in a better position to recover better, right? To position you for your breastfeeding journey, if that is how you choose to do your feedings. Like, it's a whole domino effect of what birthing well can really, really do. And so, I hope that this really helps you to understand the power of having a system, the difference between random things, right, that you just save on TikTok or on Instagram, all of these people with all of these different perspectives giving you all of this information that you don't have a context for. And it's really just becoming overwhelming because you don't even know where to start or what to do. We're going to get rid of all of that. We're going to streamline it for you. You will have a system to work through each important level that you need to get you where you want to go. Now, in addition to this being open tomorrow, let me pause, right? Let me just take some time to say, if you are not already on my email list, then you absolutely have to click the link in the description of this video to get on the wait list now. It is not too late. Why is that important? Because tomorrow at noon is when my wait list will get early access. Now, you might say, well, do I really need early access? Only if you want the best experience. And let me explain what I mean by that. So you can do just standalone and you can, work through the curriculum exactly with the blueprint that I've just given you, right? And you will get amazing results. Actually, I just got feedback from one of my previous students who took it. She was able to complete it, and she ended up completing it just before having her baby at 38 weeks. So she finished up right in the nick of time, and she talked about how it really helped her to be able to know the information before she actually needed it, right? So it's important that you're on the wait list. Now, the second part of that is because a few weeks ago, you guys, well, I think like last week, maybe, I did a poll and I asked this is what I'm considering. What do you guys want? And so in addition to that, you will be able to boost your experience by getting a one-on-one labor prep consultation, meaning that we sit down over Zoom. We specifically go over where you are and what your needs are, and you get a customized plan to prep you for labor. Now, y'all, I said this yesterday, but I'm going to say it again. I do not offer one-on-one consultations anywhere. You can't go on my website and get it. You can't call me and get it. The only way to have a consultation with me is to be a private doula client. And so this is why you definitely want to be on my wait list, because that will give you first dibs at those slots. Once they're gone, I'm only one person, y'all. So once they're gone, they're gone. And so with that being said, being on the wait list is going to position you to be ready to get the link at noon tomorrow and to be able to hop in. I am excited because, I mentioned at the beginning, it's important. Once I saw that, I saw it on GMA, the report card that we have for maternal infant health being a D+. That really was heavy on my heart because it's literally the work that I do, right? And while I can't do everything, this is an opportunity to offer it to you and to really be able to support you in a very, very result-driven way, right? The whole point is to get results, is to have you have a confident, smooth labor and birth and recovery and postpartum. We go over all of that. It is in the system, there's some really good bonuses that are included. You'll get all of that in the email tomorrow. So yeah, make sure that you are on the list. Now, with that being said, let me just hop in and kind of go through. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in and listening and staying. Let me see. Give hyperemesis. Yes, that is so tough. There's always, without knowing specifically what you've already tried, there's always the ginger. There's always, they have popsicles, or not popsicles, lollipops sometimes that they will give to help with that. Oftentimes, you might even, depending on how severe it is, you may even need to talk to your provider that can give you a low dose of something to just help with that nausea so that it's not so persistent and so pervasive. Yeah, so the basics is really what you can do, but sometimes when it's gotten to the level of hyperemesis, it's hard for it to really be as effective. So that's when I said you might want to reach out to your provider to really prescribe something that will help take some of that nausea away. But you can try ginger in all forms. So sometimes, like I said, they have the ginger lollipops or just the tea that will be help to calm that sensation. Sometimes just putting crackers by your nightstand, and before you even get out of bed in the morning, just taking a handful and putting them on your tummy, putting it in your system, something that's bland, right? So it's not anything that will actually irritate you in that state, but it's enough to get on your stomach and really coat it. So I've heard of using that as a method as well that has helped some, and it's so hard to say because everyone is different, so different things work for different people. I've heard the crackers for one, but then they'll say, but the lollipops didn't do anything. Or I tried the lollipops, but the tea didn't do anything. So you kind of have to just try and see what works. And then if you're not having any success, I would definitely reach out to your provider. Let's see. Yeah, it's hard to, you think of, that birth has to happen, but you're not really thinking like, yeah, it's gonna happen and you'll be there and you'll be the one to make it happen. So it's funny to give that some thought, and then it all kind of sets in and you're like, oh my goodness, what have I gotten myself into, right? But the good thing is that you will be prepared. So yeah. Oh, good. She says, I'm ready and prepared, just a little scared. Listen, that is normal. That is normal. No matter how prepared you are, I think it's the nature of being a first-time mom to have a little bit of that anxiousness towards something that you've never experienced before. So you are not alone. That is part of the process, especially it's almost like your initiation into being a mother. And I don't know if that ever really goes away. When people are singers or entertainers and they do it for a living and they're professional, and then in interviews they'll say, yeah, I get nervous before going on stage. And you're like, really? Because you do it flawlessly. But I think that is just a part of the process of knowing that your body is doing something so big and so great. And it really is a process that you can't really delegate to anyone else. It's something that only you can do. And so I think that is the it contributes to maybe that anxiousness. And the reason why I say it feels like it may never not be there, because even in subsequent pregnancies, even for women who's experienced it before, there's still that tiny bit of like, wow, this is a big deal. So I'm confident you're here today. You are already doing more than most. So I believe in you. You're gonna be fine. Um, let's see. Yeah, no matter how many, but it's going through. Okay. Yes. I am so excited for you, Courtney. I what you are doing and the stage that you're at, and let me just quickly talk about this too. And then we'll wrap things up here. I don't want to belabor the time, but I think it's important to understand that your body, and I just witnessed this like maybe a month ago. I think I mentioned it on yesterday's live or perhaps somewhere else, with a recent client. And the thing about it is that labor, your body is getting ready even when you don't feel it, or even when you notice small little signs. Those are all good signs. I love to hear that you're walking. I love to hear that you have started your tea. I love to hear, that you are checking in with your provider and that they are monitoring where you are, in regards to being dilated. That is all, like, I love to hear that, because that lets me know that you are on top of it, including being here with me today. And that walking, it is working. I think because we live in a microwave society, sometimes, you are expecting an immediate, I went for a walk and boom, that got things started, or, I immediately noticed X, Y, and Z. But even in the small moments, things are happening. And that is exactly, to me, that is the epitome of what a good pregnancy and a good labor and a good birth is made of. It's the small incremental movements that are happening, the blocks that are slowly stacking, and then you tip over the top and labor starts and it progresses and the baby is born. And so even though you're not necessarily dilated at this point, continue the walking, continue the teas, continue sitting on the birthing ball and really, opening up those hips to help the baby to come down. And slowly, little bit by little bit is what they say, you'll start to see those things. And before you know it, it will be time and you're going to do great. You are going to do great. Oh, 3 a.m. there. Wow. Hello. Oh, hi, Catlinus. 796. Hello. You guys don't understand, like, that's really me in the comments. So when I'm saying names, I'm literally like, oh yes, we've chatted in the comments, and that makes me feel so amazing, because it's good to really connect with my moms. Now, here's something you should know. If you are connected to me because of pregnancy and because of birth, then you are my mom, and your baby is now my baby, right? I always, when I run into my clients, there's a couple that I see and I'm always asking them, how's my baby? How's my baby? So it is so good to see you guys, especially when we've chatted in the comments, because I am really, really rooting for you, really rooting for you. Okay, that pretty much wraps up today's live. I will be going live tomorrow as well. Well, I don't know exactly what time. You definitely want to stay tuned to the post or to my page, because tomorrow is the day before the holiday here in the States, and there's a lot going on. So I am going to try and go live tomorrow. But more than anything, just make sure that you are tuned in to my email list so that you don't miss the drop tomorrow. All right, with that being said, happy birthday, guys. Have a good night. Bye.